Marinero, the Sick Podcast. And today I bring in one of my favorites. I've known this guy for a very, very long time, but I've never really worked hand in hand with him because, of course, his job at RDS as a reporter following the Montreal Canadiens takes him on the road, and I've never had to go on the road. But it's the first time he joins us on the podcast. I'm hoping it's going to happen on a couple of occasions. From RDS, reporter extraordinaire, Luc Gelinas, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for the invitation. And before we start, I apologize for my English. It's far from perfect, but I'm telling you something. At 21, 23 years old, I was able to say hot dog, hamburger, cold beer, and that's it. As a teenager, grew up in Shawinigan, I was not serious at all because no one around me was speaking English, so I thought, I don't need that. I'm going to work here. We're going to work in French. So I was not really serious in school. And then I realized that, maybe I should get out of Shawinigan and do something else. So I catch up late, and it's tough when you start to learn a language at 21, 22, 23. It's not easy. So sorry, my friend.
Look, I think your English is great. It's better than my French. And I've made a ton of money, actually, with my French. So you know what? There's still a lot of hope here. With right. It's the Sick Podcast, and the show is brought to you by Essentia, the world's only natural memory foam mattress. Go to myessentia.com/sickpod and see why Essentia is the mattress of choice for many athletes, including over 25% of professional hockey players. Use code SICKPOD for a free pillow with your purchase. Essentia Beyond Organic Sleep. It is, at the time of this recording, Monday, May 17th, and Luc Gelinas is, for those who can see him, and you'll be able to watch this, not only hear it, but actually watch it, live from his hotel room in Toronto, where the Montreal Canadiens will open up their first-round series on Thursday night against the Leafs. Before I ask Luc Gelinas whether or not the Montreal Canadiens have a chance at his prediction for the series, we have a lot of things to get to, but earlier tonight, Carey Price and Brendan Gallagher, who were on a conditioning stint and loaned to the Laval Rocket, played for the Rocket versus the Toronto Marlies. Carey Price got in a couple of periods. He gave up 2 goals on 15 shots. Brendan Gallagher was scoreless as the Marlies beat the Rocket by a score of 2-0. Look, nothing happened to Carey Price. Nothing happened to Brendan Gallagher. It sounds like both are fine and doing okay. But I have to tell you, and I'm not going to lie to you, I wasn't crazy about this idea. I just thought there were a lot more cons than there were pros. So I'm glad nothing happened because I wasn't crazy about it.
I love that idea. For me, they send a big message to the team. They are 2 veterans, 2 leaders, and they didn't have to do that. Like we saw Kucherov, he didn't play since Stanley Cup final. He showed up yesterday, scored 2 goals or get the 2-3 points for the Lightning. He played a heck of a game. But Price and Gallagher, they sent a message to the team. Sacrifice, dedication, we're going to do whatever it takes to win against Toronto. So now they did that. So imagine all the teammates, they're going to show up in Toronto and they're going to work really hard because Carey and Brendan, they went to Laval. They played in the AHL for the first time in maybe a decade, so I'm proud of them. But I'm really happy nothing happened.
Yeah, you had a chance to see both goals on Carey Price. I thought the first one, top corner, nothing he can do there. The second one, I think he probably should have had. But you know what? I really don't think it's all that big of a deal. We know the ability that he has. It's not one bad game or a couple of goals in the American Hockey League game that are going to change the way this guy's going to perform on Thursday night. At least I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we said in the bubble, he played just a exhibition game, one exhibition game before the playoff start or the round-robin start, or call it whatever you want. And he was just terrific in the bubble. So I think with a lot of rest, he might do the same thing. And honestly, I really like to see Price healthy. And I think Montreal is in a better position in front of the net than the Leafs. Jack Campbell was going to start. He's 29, never played in playoffs before in his career. and Frederick Anderson got injured, and when he came back, he didn't play well. So I'd rather have Price or Allen before the two others.
So speaking of gas, because a lot of people are wondering if the Canadians are out of gas. Montrealers, are you tired of going to the gas station? Use Fuel It service, whether you're at home, work, or anywhere in between. Download the Fuel It Canada app today. Fuel It, bringing gas to the 21st century. Down the stretch, they look like a team that was out of gas. Yep. Carey Price hadn't played a game since the 19th of April, if memory serves me well. Brendan Gallagher was out for about 6 weeks, though. Shea Weber's been out for a while. Philip Deneau has been out with a concussion as well. Thomas Tatar was hurt. He was out. He came back. He was out. He's back again and all that stuff. But the fact that some of their injured players are coming back, and it looks like all of them will come back. Do you expect Shea Weber to be ready for game one?
From what Dominique Ducharme said, yes, I expect him to be at his spot for that game. And you know what, for me, and honestly, Tony, in the past, when it was time for prediction, I remember once I said Boston in 4. And when I showed up in the dressing room, Guillaume Latendresse was not really happy. He went to me and he said, "Luke, seriously, how can you do that to us?" And I told him, win just one and I will apologize. And I was quite lucky because Boston won in 4. So my point is, I take Montreal not because I cover that team, because I think that's the perfect storm. The injured players are coming back. Marc Bergevin built a team, a strong team. He can play physical. And by the way, this season, Montreal is the team with the most hits per game. So when you face a team, every 2 nights, they play hard, they play strong. And I like the way Montreal can play defensively. I understand that the fans, they are upset because Caufield and Kotkaniemi are not supposed to start for game one. Uh-huh. But against Toronto, you want to shut them down. And you have Tatar, Deneau, Gallagher, Foley, Suzuki, Armia. They are strong defensively. They can compete against Marner and Matthews and Nylander and Tavares. And then the third line with a lot of speed, Lekanen, Evans, Byron, and I'm in love with the fourth line. Anderson, Stahl, Perry, they're going to play against a really older fourth line with Thornton, Pezza, Simmons. So for me, Montreal can make a big surprise and win against Toronto.
Wow, it's funny you say that because I will say this. I think this series is going 7 games. Ultimately, I think Toronto's going to win. I think it's a winnable series for the Canadians. When you think a series is going 7 games, let's face it, any team could win. Yeah. I just think in the end that firepower will prevail because the National Hockey League has become an offensive league over the past couple of years. But an upset wouldn't shock me here. But I'm going to go with Toronto because they're fresher and healthier going in. The Canadians need all the healthy bodies to come back and hit the ground running right away. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. But I will say this, though. I've thought this the entire season, and I think it even more now. Josh Anderson picked up 17 goals and 7 assists, only 24 points in 52 games. I think Josh Anderson is a better playoff player than he was a regular season player. I think Eric Stahl is going to be a better playoff player than he was a regular season player. I think Corey Perry is more built for the playoffs than he was for the regular season. I think Yoel Armia is more built for the playoffs than he was for the regular season. I think Weber, Sherratt, and Edmondson in particular are more built for the playoffs than they are for the regular season. And Carey Price has a chance to redeem himself. And if he doesn't get the job done and they go to their second goalie or they choose to use both because they're playing back-to-back on the Monday, Tuesday, game 3, game 4, I think they got 2 better goalies than Toronto. So I don't know who's going to win. I've gone with Toronto. I'm going with Toronto in 7, but I'll say this. I believe the Canadians are more built for the playoffs than they are than the regular season.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's what almost all of us were saying before the season start. Marc Bergevin built a team for playoffs. And here we are. Playoffs will start, so everything is possible.
All right, so now the big controversy is everyone wants to see the kids, right? I know you said you like that fourth line of Stahl, Perry, and Josh Anderson, but a lot of people don't understand what's going on here. Corey Perry most likely will not be back next year. I'd be willing to bet that Eric Stahl will not be back next year, right? Both their contracts are up and they're both getting older.
Yep.
Kotkaniemi should be here for a while. Cole Caufield should be here for a while. The Canadians hit a reset a couple of years ago to actually get the team younger. But now they're not starting the series. Don't you find there's mixed messages there?
No, because they want to win now. Like Kotkaniemi, he had a chance last year in the bubble, and he did a heck of a job. But like 3 weeks ago, he admitted to us that he was really tired mentally and physically, and on the ice, he did nothing. So I think Stahl deserved to start. He's better defensively. He's better in the face-off circle. And Kotkaniemi will be there for 10 more years. Caufield too as well. And especially on the road, Dominique Ducharme doesn't have the last change.
Yeah.
So we want to protect them. And by saying that, I'm sure if Montreal can have a pretty good ride, they're going to play at one point. But I understand the coach to start with the veterans. I like the four lines. What I said, I believe the key against Toronto is to play really, really well defensively. And the players, the 12 forwards before them on the lineup, they can do that. And if you play really well defensively at one point, maybe Toronto can get frustrated and they're going to open up and you're going to have some maybe good opportunities to score. So for me, that's really, really logical what Dominique Ducharme is putting together to start against the Leafs.
So everyone knows that Jesperi Kotkaniemi has struggled. I think he's gone 0 for his last 24 or 25. At one point, I even stopped counting because I felt too bad. But last year in the bubble, all right? Last year in the bubble. So now we're talking.
It was really good. It was impressive.
10 months ago or whatever it was, right? Claude Julien, Kirk Muller, they decided to go with a young Jesperi Kotkaniemi who had a disappointing season and had an injury there down the stretch, went to the Laval Rocket, came back up. They liked the way he looked going into the play-in, and they relegated veteran Max Domi to the fourth line. 10 months later, I get it. It's a different situation, but Kotkaniemi struggles, but so did Eric Stahl, who really probably played one good game, maybe two. What am I getting? I'm going to have to ask you here. If Claude Julien made his lineup last year in the bubble, do you think Marc Bergevin was influential in who's starting the series this year with Dominique Ducharme?
No, I don't think so, because everybody was saying Kotkaniemi is tired. He does nothing on the ice. He has no stamina, no jump. For me, it looked like from us there that he was not having fun. He was just going to work. So I think maybe with a good rest, we can see the Kotkaniemi that we saw last year. But like I said, he told us that he was really tired mentally and physically. This kid is not used to play 4 games per week. They did that for 5 weeks in a row. And then people they are saying, yeah, but Philly did the same, and Tampa and the Panthers, but Montreal, like Toronto and Ottawa, that's the only division. You travel coast to coast to play your hockey game. You change time zone all the times. So that's not the end of the world if Kotkaniemi is tired. It's tough for him. So have a rest. Take it easy. And at least start with Stahl. And then you can have a good backup with KK. And you have to win face-off in playoffs. That's really important. That's more important than regular season. And the play is going to be more physical. It's a grind. And you can the line, it's not the same. You can hook and it's okay. And at this stage, I'm sure Stahl is gonna do maybe a better job than Kotkaniemi. For me, that's not a big thing. See Kotkaniemi and Caufield start the first game in the press box with us, but not in the press box because we're on different level with the.
I hear you. It's a sick podcast. I'm Tony Marinero. He is Luc Gelinas of RDS, mon chum. And go to sportbuffshop.com for all of your officially licensed sports apparel and more. Use code SICK15 for 15% on all of their items. Any sports team that you want there. Okay, so we talked about Kotkaniemi. But Cole Caufield, came in, first game in Calgary, which was a must-win game. Very important. It was the Canadiens' most important game of the season, and they played him. That says something to me, right? He had his scoring chances in game 1, in game 2, and in game 3. In game 4, he scored his first NHL goal. It was a game winner in overtime. In game 5, if memory serves me well, he scores his second NHL goal. It was a game winner in overtime versus Toronto. Now, there's no 3-on-3 overtime, sudden death overtime. Well, there could be 3-on-3 if everyone goes to the penalty box, but I understand it's a different game. But Toronto's going to score in this series, right? Montreal's going to have to score more than Toronto. That's the way it works. Let's just say, look, Gelinas, Toronto scores minimum 2 goals a game. You're going to need 3 goals to score. You believe the Canadiens can deprive themselves of a natural goal scorer, Cole Caufield, who has 3 goals in his last 7 games, I believe, who leads the Montreal Canadiens in shots since he's been here. Do you understand that? Like, I know you said you understand that one, but how tough a decision do you think that was or wasn't for Ducharme?
Honestly, I think that was not a tough decision because Brendan Gallagher was not in the lineup when you bring in Caufield. So you look on the right side, Gallagher is going to stay. Armia won't move. He's a big body, kind of a really good player, is a really good player for playoffs. Byron deserves to be there, and Perry and Anderson as well. So there's no wingers that you can take off the lineup. So that's why. But your point is good. You're going to need some goals, but you're going to need to be better defensively first. So I think he will have his chance. Sorry, but not for game 1.
You know what? I'm not even sure we'll see them in game 2. I think, though, that if they lose the 2 games in Toronto, you'll see Kotkaniemi and Caufield in Montreal, where Dominique Ducharme will have the last line change.
Why not? Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Yeah. When a team go far away in playoffs, they use a lot of bodies all the time, and the contribution is coming from everywhere, from the 4th line, from the 3rd line, sometimes from players who are just called up for a game. So I'm sure we're going to see them. And either way, if Montreal lost the first 2 games, like you said, and if Montreal is going to win, we're going to see them at one point. They're going to play through injuries and stuff like that. So there's no way to panic with the kids. But
Okay.
I understand the fans because Caufield is good, he's electric, he's smiling, but he will have his chance.
Which forward on the team do you think has the shortest leash? He's in the lineup, but if he doesn't pick it up, he'll be the first one to come out. Who do you think that is?
Byron,
eh?
No, I think so. But that line with Evans and Lekonen brings a lot of speed, and they are reliable defensively. They scored a few goals at the end of the season. That line deserve to stay together and start against Toronto.
I guess you're thinking it's going to be, or the Canadiens have to make it a physical series. And that's why Byron would probably be the guy with the shortest leash, because he's going to have to contribute in some way, shape, or form because he can't bring that physicality to the table. Is that it?
No, but I think you look at the others. Lekonen is so good defensively. Armia is like I said, is a big body, and the others are offensive contributor. I mean, you have Tatar and Gallagher, Toffoli, Armia, Lekonen, Byron, and then Anderson, Perry. That's the 8th winger is going to start. So if I have to pick one with a short leash, I'll say that's Byron.
All right, okay. So now, let's just say the Canadiens lose to Toronto, which most of the hockey world is expecting them to lose, all right? Dominique Ducharme has an interim tag, and Marc Bergevin has 1 year left on his contract after this year. Some believe that Ducharme will be back because he got the Canadiens in the playoffs. Some believe he has to do something because he had more losses than he had wins. Others believe that it was a different season because it was condensed. Everyone has an opinion. For you going into these playoffs, is it a slam dunk that Dominique Ducharme will be back as coach next year? Yes or no, and why?
No, I don't think so. It's nothing sure. The team has a better record with Claude Julien, and Carey Price was terrible at that time. So for me, I think Dominique Ducharme is a really good coach. He won with Team Canada the gold medal at the World Junior, but he has to win. He has to win. But the thing is, who might take the job? Who might be a better coach from Montreal? I don't know. But
give me a name. Give me a name. Look, give me a name.
I don't know. I don't know. And like you said, that's a strange season. I talked with Alain Vigneault the last day when they had the press conference with Chuck Fletcher, the GM, and Chuck Fletcher said that Alain came to me and he apologized. He said he felt like he let down the organization, the players, and the fans. But for me, as Chuck Fletcher said, for me, this year doesn't count. Because of the pandemic, it was a crazy year. So I'm not going to evaluate what happened this year. For me, we're going to restart from zero next season. So if it's good for Alain Vigneault and Michel Therrien and Yann Laperrière and Mike Yeo, maybe it's good for Dominique Ducharme too. But there are a few good coaches too, like I said. And personally, I don't want to start a debate, but I think when there's no good coach can speak French, you can have a coach who speak just English. But like I said, in Shawinigan, the fans, a lot of fans in Shawinigan, in Quebec City, Trois-Rivières, all across the province, a lot of fans don't speak English at all. So as you have Pascal Vincent, Benoît Gros, André Tourigny, Joël Bouchard. There's a lot of really good coach.
Bob Hartley.
Bob Hartley too, as well. Yeah, of course. So of course, if Mike Babcock show up, is one of the best in the league, you have to listen. But there's a list of really good candidates, like the one we just named.
All right, Marc Bergevin. He was hired May of 2012. 9 years on the job, 1 year left on his contract. There's been talks that he and Jeff Molson that they have talked, and anything and everything is on the table here. How do you see this going? He spent over $100 million in the offseason on contracts and extensions to Brendan Gallagher and signing Tyler Toffoli and making that deal for Josh Anderson and giving him the contract and making that deal for Joel Edmondson and giving him the contract and making that deal for Jake Allen and extending him and bringing in Eric Stahl and signing Corey Perry and convincing Romanov to come over. I mean, he has made a lot of moves since the bubble last year. And you said they're going for it. And Carey Price isn't getting younger, and neither is Shea Weber. If the Canadiens lose and lose convincingly to Toronto, what would you do in Marc Bergevin's case?
Honestly, that's his best season for me. I believe he did his best as never did before. And he gave an extension to Jeff Petrie too as well. A pretty good deal.
Correct.
So he worked really hard. He put together a team built for playoffs. So the past is bad, but this year I'm really impressed. By what he did. And there's a lot of prospects too. Don't forget that there's a few good players, young players, who are coming soon to play with this team, like Rand Paling, who had a strong finish with Laval. So if I'm Jeff Molson, I think at least I'm gonna wait. Because this year Bergevin did a great job. Now it's time for players to respond and for the coach to
look, Gelinas, it sounds like you're picking the Canadiens to pull off an upset here.
Yeah. I said in the predictions before it started, two division champions gonna fail, Pittsburgh and Toronto. But Toronto wins, I won't be surprised, but I believe Montreal has everything to win against Toronto.
Luc Gelinas, one of my favorites. Merci beaucoup, mon chum. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the invitation. And again, excuse me for my English.
It was fantastic. It was very, very good. All right, look, thank you so much. And now we're going to try and make you all some money. Let's hear from my buddy Cash at Run My Bet.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by MyBookie.
Go to mybookie.ag/the Sick Podcast to place your bets. Use code SICKPICKS for a 50% deposit bonus, or use code PICK10 for a free $10 bet without even having to deposit. Make me some cash.
What's happening, guys? Cash from Run My Bets. I'm here to give you guys a great winner. Got a big game tomorrow, guys. Before I give you guys this winner, I'm going to drop a little promo. Check me out on Instagram at Run My Bets. One word on Instagram, Run My Bets. Shoot me a message tomorrow. I'm going to give you guys another free play. Anybody who DMs me on Instagram tomorrow, I'm going to give you guys another free play for tomorrow. Now let's get to this winner that I have for you guys. First of all, I'm looking at Vegas right off the bat, guys. Minus 165 on MyBookie. We're laying a little bit of juice. I don't mind doing it, guys. They're in a back-to-back spot. During the regular season off a loss, these guys are 11-4. Only 4 times in the regular season did these guys drop a game back-to-back games. I don't see it happening again, guys. I brought out the cash. This is where it's going tomorrow.
Whoa!
Vegas money line. I'm slamming this shit. I'm slamming this, guys. Get in on this play. This one's not losing, guys. I'm all over it. I love the pick. I'm going to be dropping another one tomorrow as well, guys. Don't miss this play.
All right, man. There you have it. That's my buddy Cash at Run My Bets, and those are his sick picks. On that note, I'm Marinaro, the Sick Podcast. You can listen to us on all social media platforms and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at the Sick Podcast.